Most men think they'd notice if their woman was cheating. They imagine catching her in the act, seeing a suspicious text, or hearing a rumor that confirms their gut feeling. But that's not how it happens. Cheating rarely starts with something obvious. It starts in silence, with small shifts in how she looks at you, how she talks to you, or how she suddenly stops caring about things she once did. See, emotional disconnection always comes before physical cheating. A woman doesn't just wake up one morning and decide to betray you. It builds slowly, through tiny moments that seem harmless on the surface. That's why most men miss it. They're watching for the dramatic signs, the late-night phone calls, the mysterious perfume, the sudden nights out. Meanwhile, the real signs are sitting right in front of them, subtle and quiet. You'll notice her energy change before her routine does. You'll feel distance in her tone before she even leaves the house. The problem is, many men ignore these moments. They tell themselves she's just tired, stressed, or busy. But every act of betrayal begins with emotional withdrawal. So, in this video, we're breaking down 7 subtle signs your woman is cheating. The ones most men never recognize until it's too late. If you understand these signs early, you'll protect yourself from confusion, manipulation, and heartbreak that blindsides so many men. 1. Her emotional energy shifts away from you. The first and most important sign is when her emotional energy no longer flows toward you. It's not something you can see right away, but you can feel it. The conversations that used to feel warm now feel dry. The way she used to look at you, like you were the center of her world, starts to fade. She still talks to you, but there's no depth behind her words. It's like her mind is somewhere else, and you're only getting a fraction of her attention. Women are emotional creatures by nature. When they love, they pour their energy into you. They listen, they care, they want to connect. But when that energy starts shifting to someone else, even if nothing physical has happened yet, you'll feel the disconnect. She might still say, "I love you," but it sounds routine, not real. You'll notice her body language change, the way she avoids eye contact, the way her smiles don't reach her eyes anymore. At first, you might think she's just stressed or tired, and sometimes that's true. But when it becomes consistent, when every day feels colder, you have to pay attention. Emotional withdrawal is the first stage of infidelity. It's when she starts forming emotional bonds elsewhere, and that bond slowly replaces what you once had. Imagine this. You're sitting on the couch next to her, watching the same show you always do. She's scrolling through her phone, laughing softly at something. You ask what's funny, and she brushes it off. "Oh, nothing." You smile back, but deep down, something doesn't feel right. She's right beside you, yet it feels like she's miles away. That's not your imagination. That's emotional distance. When a woman's heart starts wandering, her presence changes before her behavior does. This is the quiet warning most men miss. They look for proof instead of paying attention to the shift in energy. But emotional absence is the seed that grows into physical betrayal. Catch it early, and you'll see what's coming before it destroys the relationship. 2. She becomes unusually guarded with her phone. This is one of the clearest shifts that men overlook because it starts so subtly. A woman who once left her phone anywhere suddenly treats it like a secret vault. It's always face down, it's always on silent, and somehow it's always with her, even when she's just walking to the kitchen. She used to scroll freely beside you, laugh at random messages, or hand you her phone without hesitation. Now, the moment you glance in its direction, she gets defensive or quickly locks the screen. When someone's behavior changes like that, it's rarely random. A woman becomes protective of her phone when there's something she doesn't want you to see. Not necessarily full-blown cheating at first, but emotional conversations that cross boundaries. It could start as innocent chatting with someone new, but when that communication becomes constant, personal, and secretive, It's emotional infidelity in disguise. The tricky part is, she'll always have explanations. I just want privacy. You're overthinking. Why don't you trust me? And on the surface, those statements sound valid. Everyone deserves privacy. That's true. But when privacy turns into secrecy, that's when trust quietly dies. If she suddenly changes her phone password, deletes her call logs, or becomes jumpy when a notification pops up, she's protecting something, and it's not you. Picture this. You're sitting together after dinner, having what feels like a peaceful night. Her phone lights up beside her, and you notice her glance at it quickly before flipping it over. You ask who it was, and she says, "Nobody important." Her tone is sharp, like you just accused her of something. You drop it to avoid a fight, but now the energy in the room feels off. She's scrolling on her phone again, facing slightly away from you. That's not privacy. That's distance disguised as independence. A woman who's faithful doesn't have to hide routine communication. But when her digital habits change drastically, more screen time, secret passwords, late-night texting, that's a reflection of an emotional shift. She's building a world you're no longer part of. Technology doesn't make people cheat. It just makes it easier to hide. And when a woman starts guarding her phone more than her relationship, it's often a sign that her loyalty has already started to drift elsewhere. 3. Intimacy feels forced or inconsistent. One of the hardest things for a man to admit is that his woman no longer desires him the way she used to. Intimacy, both physical and emotional, is the heartbeat of a relationship. When that heartbeat starts to fade, you can feel it, even if you can't explain it. It's not always that she stops being intimate altogether. Sometimes she still participates, but it doesn't feel real anymore. The warmth, the connection, the spark that used to make every touch meaningful begins to disappear. When a woman's attention starts drifting to someone else, her desire becomes inconsistent. One day she might be affectionate, acting as if everything's normal, and the next, she's cold and distant, offering excuses like she's tired, not in the mood, or too stressed. What most men don't realize is that this emotional back and forth isn't just about physical attraction. It's about emotional priority. When a woman's emotions are tied elsewhere, her body follows. You'll notice the difference in how she responds to affection. Little things that used to make her light up, a kiss, a compliment, a hug, barely move her now. She becomes more focused on routine than connection. Moments that once felt intimate now feel transactional, as if she's only doing them to keep up appearances. She might even start using affection as a tool, giving it when she wants something or withdrawing it when she's upset. That's not love. That's control through emotional distance. Every man knows how it feels when the energy in his relationship changes. You start questioning yourself. Maybe you're not trying hard enough. Maybe she's just going through something. Maybe it's your fault. But the truth is, when intimacy becomes mechanical or inconsistent, it's rarely random. It usually means she's emotionally checked out, and your connection is no longer her emotional home. When you can sense that something feels off, when your closeness feels replaced by silence or disinterest, that's not something to ignore. Emotional absence always shows up in the bedroom first. When affection starts to feel like an obligation instead of a natural expression, the relationship is already drifting. And if you're the only one trying to fix it while she's growing more distant, it's a sign she may already be investing her emotions somewhere else. 4. She starts comparing you to someone else. Subtly. When a woman begins emotionally detaching, she often starts seeing another man through a filtered lens. Someone who seems to understand her better, listen more, or treat her differently. You'll start noticing it in the way she talks. She might casually mention a coworker, a classmate, or even a friend, comparing something he did or said to what you don't do anymore. At first, it sounds harmless, but it's never just about the words. It's about where her admiration is going. A faithful woman protects how she speaks about her man, especially in front of others. When she begins to compare, it means she started evaluating you, not out of curiosity, but out of emotional dissatisfaction. The comparison isn't about the other person's actions. It's about the emotional void she's feeling. And once she starts romanticizing that someone else, even subconsciously, she begins feeding that emotional connection more and more attention. You'll hear things like, "He's just so easy to talk to," or "He's really ambitious. You'd like him." On the surface, those statements sound casual, but underneath, she's creating a contrast between the man she's emotionally drawn to and the one she's beginning to lose interest in. These subtle comparisons slowly chip away at your confidence. You might start overanalyzing yourself, wondering what you're doing wrong, or why you can't seem to satisfy her the same way anymore. What's dangerous about this stage is that it doesn't feel like cheating. She'll convince herself it's just friendly admiration, but admiration is the first step toward emotional attachment. Once she starts emotionally praising another man, she's feeding him the validation she used to give you. This phase also reveals something deeper. When a woman stops seeing your value, she starts projecting her unmet desires onto someone else. She begins to see potential elsewhere because she no longer feels fulfilled where she is. And the more she brings up that other person, the more she distances herself from you emotionally. Every relationship faces comparisons at some point, but when they become consistent, especially with one particular person, that's no coincidence. It means her focus is shifting. When her admiration leaves your relationship, her loyalty often follows. That's how emotional affairs quietly begin, not through action, but through repeated mental and emotional comparison. 5. Her schedule and priorities suddenly change. When a woman starts cheating, one of the first external changes you'll notice is how her time begins to shift. The routines that once made sense suddenly don't anymore. She becomes busier, her plans become vague, and her free time no longer includes you the way it used to. At first it seems harmless, a new project at work, more outings with friends, or an unexpected hobby she's suddenly passionate about. But what's really happening is a quiet rearranging of priorities. You used to be part of her daily rhythm, the good morning messages, the shared meals, the little check-ins during the day. Slowly, those start fading. She's not as responsive as she used to be. She cancels plans more often, or seems distracted even when she's with you. She starts creating space, and when you ask about it, she'll frame it as needing me time or wanting to focus on her goals. Those reasons sound logical, but when someone truly values their relationship, they make time for it, even during busy periods. The shift becomes clear when she begins investing more energy into people or places that don't include you. You notice she's dressing differently for those outings, paying more attention to her appearance when she's going somewhere without you. Her social calendar suddenly fills up with things you know little about, and when you ask questions, her answers stay vague. It's just a work thing, or it's not important. That avoidance is a sign she's protecting her new routine. Every man knows that life gets busy. But when the woman who once prioritized your bond starts putting everything else before it, that's not normal distance. It's emotional replacement. Cheating doesn't start with physical betrayal. It starts with time. Where she spends her time determines where her attention and emotional energy go. You'll sense that she's not just unavailable. She's unreachable. Her presence becomes inconsistent, and no matter how much effort you put in, it feels like she's already living a separate life. That's because she's slowly building one. A woman who truly loves you wants you to be part of her world. When her world starts expanding in directions that exclude you, it's not just about a busy schedule. It's a reflection of emotional disconnection. And once her priorities change, The relationship you once recognized slowly disappears with them. 6. She acts irritated or emotionally distant, without reason. When a woman starts cheating or emotionally investing elsewhere, her attitude toward you begins to change in subtle but painful ways. The calm, caring energy she once brought into the relationship turns into irritation, impatience, or cold detachment. Suddenly, the smallest things you do seem to annoy her. The way you speak, the questions you ask, even the things she used to find funny. Now she reacts as if they bother her. This shift isn't random. When a woman feels emotionally torn between two connections, she starts projecting her guilt and confusion onto the man she's with. She'll find reasons to argue or distance herself, not because you did something wrong, but because being around you reminds her of the emotional line she's already crossing. It's easier for her to create emotional space through conflict than to admit she's pulling away. You'll notice she becomes defensive about simple things. If you ask how her day went, she might respond with a cold, "Why do you want to know?" or accuse you of being too controlling. If you express that she's changed, she'll flip the blame, saying you're too sensitive or that you always overthink. This is a psychological tactic, not always intentional, but often a way for her to justify her emotional distance. What makes this stage painful is that it leaves you feeling confused and helpless. You start questioning yourself, wondering if you've become the problem. You try harder to please her, to bring back the old connection, but nothing seems to work. Every effort feels one-sided. That's because when a woman's heart begins to drift, her patience and emotional investment follow. She's already comparing what she feels with someone else to what she no longer feels with you. Her irritation becomes a shield to cover her emotional absence. She'll pick fights just to create more distance, and over time, you'll notice that peace no longer feels possible between you two. This emotional detachment is often the final warning before a complete breakdown of the relationship. When the warmth fades and everything turns cold without clear reason, that's not just mood swings, it's emotional exhaustion. She's no longer connecting with you, and instead of admitting it, she disconnects further. When a woman reaches this stage, her love isn't gone overnight. It's been fading quietly. One argument, one cold silence at a time. 7. She makes you think it's your fault. This is the most painful stage because it confuses you emotionally and mentally. You can feel her slipping away. The affection is gone, her tone has changed, and her interest in the relationship feels like it's on life support. Yet, every time you try to talk about it or make sense of what's happening, she turns it around on you. Somehow, you become the problem. The more distant she gets, the more she makes you feel guilty for noticing it. This is where emotional manipulation often begins. When a woman starts cheating or emotionally detaching, she doesn't want to take responsibility for her shift in behavior, so she redirects the blame. She'll say things like, "You've changed," "You don't make me happy anymore," or "You're too controlling." At first, you'll doubt yourself. You'll start replaying moments in your head, wondering if you actually did something wrong. That's exactly how she maintains control, by keeping you in a state of guilt and confusion. She'll begin rewriting the story of the relationship. The things you did out of love become things she never asked for. Your care turns into smothering. Your effort turns into pressure. She creates a new version of the relationship that justifies her emotional withdrawal and, in some cases, her disloyalty. It's not that you were perfect. No one is. But now, your flaws are the excuse she uses to distance herself further. What makes this stage so damaging is that you start to lose confidence in your own judgment. You feel like no matter what you say or do, it's wrong. You might try harder to fix things, but the more effort you put in, the more she pulls away. That's because, deep down, she's already mentally moved on. And instead of being honest about it, she'd rather make you question yourself. Many men stay stuck here the longest, fighting to prove their worth to someone who has already emotionally checked out. But the truth is, when love turns into guilt, when connection turns into confusion, the relationship has already changed. You can't repair something with someone who's no longer interested in rebuilding. When she starts making you feel responsible for her emotional distance, understand this. It's not your fault. It's her way of easing her guilt while quietly preparing to leave. Once you see that pattern, you'll stop blaming yourself and start protecting your peace. A woman rarely cheats because she's bored. She cheats because she's emotionally finished with the relationship long before she ever leaves it. That's the most dangerous part. By the time you notice the signs, she's already rewritten the story in her mind, justifying every lie she's told and every moment she's withdrawn. Men often believe cheating is about physical attraction, but it almost never starts there. It begins when she stops feeling emotionally seen, and instead of communicating, she searches for that validation elsewhere. That's why the signs we've talked about are so subtle, because they aren't about what she does, but about what she feels. Now I want you to pause and think. Have you ever noticed even one of these signs before? Maybe you felt something was off, but you didn't want to seem paranoid. Maybe you blamed yourself for her distance. Or maybe you ignored your instincts because you loved her too much to believe she could betray you. Whatever your experience was, share it below in the comments. I actually read them, and I respond. This isn't just about me talking. It's about helping you see what's really happening in your relationship before it's too late. Because the truth is, recognizing these signs early isn't about control. It's about awareness. It's about protecting your peace, your confidence, and your emotional well-being. Once you understand how to read behavior instead of words, you'll stop chasing explanations that don't exist and start seeing people for who they really are. And here's something you need to remember. Sometimes the person who says, "I'd never do that," is the same one already planning how to hide it. If this message hits you hard, don't scroll away just yet. The next video will dive into something even deeper. Why women lose respect for a man who gives them everything. That one will change how you see love forever. So drop your story below, subscribe, and stay tuned. Bye for now.